Hello, hello. Good morning, good evening. How are you guys doing? We'll wait a couple more minutes for people to join. Hi John, hi Igor, hi Redix. I'm doing great. The year is almost over. The work is coming to an end. And I'm ready for the holidays. How are you people? Feels like the music is way too loud. Is it just me? Today we will be continuing this fire animation. I think it's the third stream already that we're working on this. I wanted to make some tweaks to the basic shape and then finally move on to the next step, adding other colors. Hey Oscar, how are you doing? Hey Franklin. I'm doing great. Love the streams. Love streaming with you guys. Also gives me, well, a good reason to practice. What I want to do here is to add a tiny bit of anticipation to the first burst. Thanks, Franklin. Doing great, just finished work. Sweet! Are you ready for the holidays? Hello, how's everything? Everything is splendid. The fire looks awesome. Thank you. Hopefully we can make it even better today. I think this is going to work. So I'm adding a couple of anticipation frames before the burst. And I'm trying to use the same trick we did last time. Before the main burst, we kind of animate some of the energy, mass, the opposite way. So it's kind of like a slingshot where the mask goes backwards at first and then it goes forward. I think it makes it a bit more punchy. But we'll see how it works. Do you review the effects between streams, or is it the first time looking at it since last time? I looked at it briefly, but mostly after the last stream or maybe the next day, because when I'm ending the streams it's quite late for me already and I want to rest. So usually the next day I can take a look and to kind of have fresh eyes and see what's happening. Because when you're just like working on it for 3 hours, the eye gets blurry and you can miss some mistakes or not think of some new ideas just because you're so focused on specific thing. I don't mind the ugly shapes for now, they're kind of just blobs. Yeah, so right now it looks kind of like a whip. Well, it's starting to look like a whip. Now this frame is not supporting the motion that great because we weren't designing for it when we make these first frames. Maybe we can adjust something, or maybe it's fine, honestly. If the animation doesn't match perfectly the shapes, as long as it feels right, I think it can be alright. Just adjust some minor shapes. it is gonna be the last stream this year. What date is today? 17th? Probably not. Yeah, I'm planning at least 3 more streams this year. 19th, 24th, 26th. I assume not a lot of people will be joining these, because, well, holidays. But it's fine. Don't really know what to do with this blob fire. I'll be there. Sure, I will be. Watching your streams is my holiday gift. Oh, so sweet of you. I really appreciate it. Are you going to be giving feedback on the new VFX apprentice course? No, like I'm not an... Well, what do you mean? Like giving the feedback about the course, or being like an instructor on the course and giving the feedback to the students? Because I guess the answer to both is probably no. But I can tell you that the course is great. And there are no other courses that like an instructor on the Discord channel. No, unfortunately not. I don't really have time for this type of work right now. And it would be cool to participate in this, but unfortunately the way my schedule worked at the time, I was only able to participate in the creation of time lapses, creation of the time lapses for the course, and that's it for now. But just seeing the artists that Jason gathered for this course, it looks super promising. I only know about the part I did for the course, without much insight. But I probably will be taking it myself, because, well, you can always learn something new, right? Hello, Irina. Привет. Yeah, I think I like it a bit more this way. I added kind of a like spinning movement at the beginning. It doesn't follow through this that well right now. I'm trying to figure out if I care or not. Because if I do care, I need to change the way these first frames behave. And I don't really want to. Honestly, we've been on this effect for so long. And I think sometimes it's just important to move on and learn the mistakes you made and try not to make them the next time. Hi Magdalene. Привет, привет. How are you doing? I think I can improve these shapes a bit. I'm alright making some designs for live streams. Output will look okay. Sweet. What are you streaming? Facts? I love this fire. Thank you. Speaking of being lazy and not wanting to change things in your artwork when you know that there's something you want to change, I'm curious, like, what's your approach, people? When you finish your drawing, are you 100% happy with it? Like, do you polish it until you fixed all mistakes and you just don't know what else to fix? Or do you stop at a certain point thinking, okay, that's enough? I see all the mistakes, but that's fine for now. Character animation, my own project, etc. Sounds cool. I'll check it out. I'll try to remember to check it out. I go by finished, not perfect, but always look back and regret. That's the most painful way of doing things. Yeah, I used to do this too. For me personally, kind of learned to let it go. I'm trying to not repeat these mistakes the next time. Because what I noticed is that a lot of times when I look at my old artworks that I remember not being fully happy with, fully satisfied with, when I look at them now after years, and they look fine. I don't even remember what was wrong with them. So I guess that's kind of the indication of how the other people view your artwork. If you give it time, you forget all the mistakes and it will look fine probably. I recognize this soundtrack, but I don't remember where it's from. I guess let's do a soundtrack guessing game. This is a soundtrack from 2D platformer, Metroidvania type. I haven't played it myself, so I don't have a lot of clues. But I think there's a sequel coming up next year, or maybe the end of this year, probably next year. And it's a pretty popular one. Struggle with that, but try to carry learning forward, especially on smaller projects. I think, like, I remember a couple of times where probably at the beginning of just posting my work, very beginning of my art career, where I was fully satisfied with my works and I didn't know what else to change? And I guess that indicates just the lack of knowledge and experience. I'm trying to become more of a satisfier instead of a maximizer. You have to elaborate here. What do you mean by that? Yes, Emilio, I'm using Procreate on an iPad. It's not perfect for animation. I love it for simple animations where you only have, well, one color. It gets a bit trickier when you start adding more colors. Maximizer are a person who strives to make choices that will give them the maximum benefit later on, or satisfier, whose choices are determined by more modest criteria, nothing more. Okay. Cool, nice to know. This soundtrack is pretty epic. Maybe I need to play the game. Hey Alex, do you know the game Hades? If so, what do you think about the VFX animations on that? I haven't played it, I saw on like social media some of the VFX, and it's not my favorite style. Like, I don't really like simulations the way they look. And even if I'm making realistic looking stuff, I'd rather use like different techniques that use, well, simulations. That's my personal preference. People seem to be loving Hades and the visual style of it. Like, simulations for me, I don't know, there's something unsettling in simulations for me. I don't know why. They're so smooth and so perfect looking. Then you use a bunch of filters on them to, well, to adjust them the way you need, and can't really put it into words. Did you see the animated trailer the studio Greco created for the game? Probably. Hades trailer. Okay, I saw screenshots from it, but I haven't seen the trailer itself. Looks cool. I like the motion of everything. It's kind of different from, like, I have some things that I dislike about this type of animation personally. But it's just the way I approach animation, because I like to polish things, you know? And that's probably not the best use of time, honestly. The way I do it, I enjoy working like this. And these anime-like animations, they are more focused on the motion. I mean, the shapes are great too, but sometimes they look kind of rough, and it's perfectly fine for animation. I guess, I don't know, maybe it's my OCD or something, but I need to like grab an eraser and adjust every shape. So I always use this anime-like effects as a reference for movement, timing, and shapes. But personally, I like to spend a bit more time on each frame. Spencer Wen created the studio only to create the trailer. Yeah, it really has his style. It shows. Speaking of workflow, I'm trying to make a Blender grease pencil work for my FX animations, but it's hard with how the eraser works. Forgot how much I relied on less so hard erasers. I haven't tried grease pencil in Blender. In terms of software, I want to try Clip Paint Studio for animations. I tried it briefly some time ago, and it was not complex, but not intuitive for sure. I really wasn't able to make the app do what I want it to do. But I just realized the thing that I really need in my animation app to work perfectly, because I rely on it so much, probably because of years in Flash and Animate. But I need a decent bucket tool. Like Procreate, you do this and it's perfect. In Photoshop you have to do like multiple steps to get a perfect feel with the bucket tool. And I don't understand why it can't just work. Hi Zookeeper, you mean Clip Paint for iPad or PC? It's the same thing, right? On the iPad it's pretty much the same app, which is for better or worse, because the UI is not very optimized for the iPad, but you get all the features. Lost my connection, could listen to your answer. Let me know what did you miss, I can say it again. Grease pencil strokes are basically generating polygon strips, so you can really can't so you can't really carve out shapes from it without working on a masking layer, I think. I see. I guess I need to try to fully understand it. But it sounds like something that requires a specific workflow. Yeah, I don't think the YouTube allows links in the stream chat, unfortunately. Cool, I think I'm following you, Magdalene, already. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, I'll check it out after the stream. you don't, that would be a heart attack for me for sure. Oh, I guess I won't follow you then. I don't want you to have a heart attack. Good you mentioned it. That would be so unfortunate. I just feel so inspired by new Mass Effect trailer. Haven't seen it. I haven't played any of the Mass Effect games. I think I tried playing the first one when it was way too late for, like, when probably the third one was coming out, and I tried the first one. It didn't really grab me. To me, it was just. It was Knights of the Old Republic. You know, the Star Wars game? And Mass Effect was, well, pretty much the same thing, but without Star Wars. I thought that the gameplay was kind of clunky. They make a remake of all Mass Effect games. Yeah, maybe I'll check it out then. Maybe it's time to catch up. As long as the remake is good, though. Because it's not always the case, right? What's the best remake ever to you? To me, only Resident Evil 2 comes to mind. There are probably more games, remakes that I enjoyed. But Resident Evil 2 was great, and not just as a remake. I think the game, like the new version, was awesome, not just based on the nostalgia or anything like that. Final Fantasy VII. Haven't played it. Looks cool. What's your favorite game franchise? I won't say Warcraft, because I played so much Warcraft 3. My heart was kind of broken with the Reforged, though. And I think, like with all great brand franchises, when they go for way too long, they kind of lose something, like Star Wars or, I guess, Warcraft. Okay, let's start adding shapes. Other colors. I need to stop polishing this one. Demon Souls, I suppose. Yeah. I haven't played it again. But I saw people really enjoying it. I really can't think of franchises, really. Even with Warcraft 3, I can say that it's my favorite game, but my favorite franchise? I'm not sure. I kind of like just play games, like single games. The spin on the first burst is class. Thank you. I kind of like it. I don't like that the fact that this part here is just like so straight. I guess we can change it. What's your favorite game franchise? I'm still trying to think of game franchises that I enjoyed. I guess Resident Evil can be one, but I'm weird. I'm the one who likes 5 and 6. And I think my first Resident Evil was the 5th one. That kind of lost its horror roots and spirit. My favorite franchise is Final Fantasy. Impressed me as a child, still touches hard. It just, for me, it's so... Like when you see Final Fantasy 13, I think to myself, okay, it's probably way too late to get in. People been telling me that they are not continuous like story, and you can start with like any of them pretty much. But it still feels like they had built, like people who played old games will appreciate the new ones way more than I probably will. I like Mass Effect for its design and universe, but for gameplay, I like Dark Souls-like games. You're pretty hardcore, right? I really enjoyed Batman Arkham series at the time. Well, I guess I enjoyed Arkham City the most, and the other was the final one, the Arkham Knight, right? That's the name. It was kind of I just want to finish this story, but I'm not really into the gameplay or the atmosphere. To me, Arkham City was the best one. The open world was large enough, but not too big to make it generic. Like every block had its style. In Arkham Knight, the city was kind of... It felt like any other generic open world cities, right? Very few memorable places and designs. Yeah, I like when I get gray hair while playing. Sweet. What are the difficult games that I played? Is Hotline Miami considered a difficult game? I really enjoyed Hotline Miami 1 and 2 as well. Probably not as difficult as Souls-like games. Feels boring, yeah. I hope it's for Batman, not Hotline Miami. Okay, I think it's a bit better. Hotline Miami is difficult to stop playing, right? Yeah, I guess if you're making difficult games, making sure that you can replay it instantly is very important. Like if you die, you can try immediately without load times or long walking distance again. Was bad at it, but couldn't stop. Which one have you played? The first one or the second one? I think the second one was a bit worse. In terms of game design, there were some places where I had issues with the game where it wasn't just difficult, it felt a bit unfair. think there are like a lot of places in the second one where you have enemy snipers and they kill you off screen. And it feels kind of cheap. The second one felt a little easier. Probably. But still, a bit more cheap, in my opinion. Another difficult game that I recently played is what's it called? Downhill Mountain something? Downhill. Oh, Lonely Mountains Downhill. Well, it's about mountain biking and crashing into things. It's pretty cool. Requires a lot of patience, I guess. But there's a lot of room for improvement and speedrunning and stuff, where it can be really fast. I remember when Dark Souls 2 released, it was much easier than the first chapter. People were so angry, so they made Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, which is more difficult. It makes sense, like, for the franchises, that, like, the difficulty is one of the features of the franchise, right? And you can't really just take it away. It's the same thing that happened to Resident Evils, like 5 and 6, where to me I think they were great games, but they took away the horror elements that the fans of the franchise loved. Like for me, because I never played Resident Evil game before, it was perfectly fine. No one took away anything from me. So I just enjoyed the game. Hey Slash. Okay, I have no idea how am I going to do the secondary colors. Ideally, this is the moment where I switch to like another app. But we'll see what we can do. Starting secondary colors always feels like starting all over. I guess not for me. I like this step because usually everything is pretty much done. I mean, you still have to add some motion inside. But to me, when the main shape is figured out, the animation of it, the secondary step colors are not as difficult to add. Right now it's just, well, the fact that I'm doing this in Procreate. That's scary. I love your shape the flames in each. I love how you shape the flames in each shape. I'm mainly a character animator, but I would like to learn effects animation as well. Do you have any tips on how to shape fire, lightning, or water? Yes, I think this is the place where I should suggest checking out the FX Apprentice course that Jason Kaiser made, and I participated in a part of it. So, like, this should be the best way of learning effects for now, I think, because I can answer questions, but it's definitely not as... I can't be as deep as the whole course, right? And also in terms of the shape language, oh my god, in shapes, I think that's the fun part about effects. It's kind of very personal and depends on the style of each artist. And if you look at my effects, fire, water, electricity, they all have very similar components, right? And it's just the shapes I personally like. And other VFX artists can have very different shapes, and the effects will still look great. But I guess, like, for me, one thing is I'm trying to shape every frame so it looks like every frame should look good. I mean, it sounds kind of obvious, but when you're animating, especially effects with abstract shapes, there's always a case where you're making like in between frame or transitioning from one cool frame to another, which sounds like an in between, but even with a straight ahead animation, you have like a shape in mind that you're moving towards to. And some transitional shapes can technically work and be correct, but look not as cool and dynamic. And that's very difficult to do, and I guess the most time I spend working on the effects animation is trying to figure out, well, how to make one cool shape transition into another cool shape with the cool shapes in between. So for example, right now I'm just adding secondary colors to just one frame, and then I will try to figure out a way to make next frames and previous frames work somehow. And I'll probably come back to this frame and adjust something to make it fit. I can't animate effects just by itself. For me, it's easier to animate in the scene or something like this. I mean, I should understand what I want to see. But if somebody will ask animate a fire water, I'll stuck. I can see that, yeah. I guess it's the scene, or for example, a character with a, let's say, flaming sword. It gives you some kind of guidance or limitations. When you have to just animate fire, any shape, any movement, it's infinite possibilities and it's easier to get stuck. Fields of motion too, right. Like, since I haven't worked in the animation that much, like I mean in movies or TV shows, I mostly worked with games where I don't have the context, I don't have the scene, and I'm just making abstract effects all the time. I'm pretty comfortable with this. But I really do like working in a scene. But sometimes it can be quite tricky for me. Especially when there's, well, where you have to animate something on the ground and there's like a perspective to the scene and the camera is moving. And this is one of my weaknesses, I guess. It's a bit difficult for me to make volumetric effects. Because I'm not used to it. For games, you're trying to make flat stuff and you add volume in engine with meshes or other tricks. And funny enough, if you make something volumetric in 2D, in Flipbook, it might look quite flat in engine when you can see it in 3D world, because you start noticing that it's flat. It's a bit tricky to explain, but like flat colors, if you make like a smoke ribbon or like a tendril of smoke that's just one color, and you place it in the world, in 3D world, it will look mostly fine. But if you add shading to the smoke, you'll start noticing that it's flat. Depends on the style, of course, but that was the case for the games that I worked on. Especially when you start to, if you want to use opacity, if you want to fade it out, when you start fading out something that has shading on it, it will look very flat. Another thing about secondary colors, to me it's like a puzzle where you have the restrictions, the boundaries of your main shape, and you have to solve a composition puzzle pretty much. Like place your elements inside of this shape so that it looks balanced and cool at the same time. In case of fire, do you start with the most important frames and then add in between frames and simply animate one by one? Most of the time I just go straight ahead and animate like frame 1 till the last frame. Sometimes I do a couple of keyframes for certain spots. For example, like right now I'm doing a secondary color and I only have it here on this frame because I think that's kind of one of the keyframes that lingers for a while. Well, for a couple of frames. And I just want to figure out what I want to do with the rest of the frames here. But for the main shape, it's usually straight ahead. I have the recordings of the past streams on the channel. They are 3 hours long, but if you want to check it out, they are there. Or I'm pretty sure I will be animating fire sometime in the future as well, so you can check it out live. Cheers, I'll check them out. I think there's a video that's called How to Animate Fire, one of the first streams on this channel, where, if I remember correctly, I showed the keyframe approach and the wave principle. But that's not what I usually do. Just one of the techniques, I guess. For the secondary colors, I guess it can be applied for the main shape as well. The thing that I'm trying to don't forget is negative shapes. Because it's easy to think just of the shapes you're, well, creating with your like color. But also there are shapes that are, well, negative shapes. So like this one. And it's important for them to also look cool. Can be tricky as well. Like this one looks kind of silly. Let's see if I can do something. Sometimes when I start adding secondary colors, I also reduce some of the main color animations. I don't want to do it today though, but it happens where you like come up with the cool shapes with the secondary color. Like here it starts to look way more volumetric with this, well, clouds of fire and now spheres of fire. But the animation that we did before, it doesn't really support this that well. So sometimes if I think that, okay, this idea is worth it, I will come back and adjust some of the main shapes to support this new idea I have. Not today though. Oh, the soundtrack was from Hollow Knight, by the way. I didn't think I answered it. Let's do another night game soundtrack.
Grammar.
Nope, that's Grammarly. Okay, I need to find a way to see the previous frames with the onion skin. Maybe if I make this frame lower opacity. Kind of works, a bit confusing. How do you make the frames flow so much? My FX animations are usually cutting a bit. I guess it's just you should be trying to focus on the curves. So let's say you focus on a certain part of your shape, and then you try to follow a smooth curve. And basically you think like this for every piece of your shape. And also trying to apply easing in or easing out to the movement. So it can be a lot to think about at the same time. So I guess one solution is to try starting out with a simpler shape. So if you're making a fire torch, just think of the like wave shape, animate this, and then when you have the animation you can try adding like more shapes to it and animate them flowing on top of your main basic shape. You can also not just add but subtract, what's the word? But basically remove parts like this and also animate it like moving on the surface that you already animated. And I think this method will allow you to focus on like one thing at a time. Basic shape at first, then adding tiny shapes one by one. This should help making your animations a bit more smooth. Yeah, you're welcome. If you have any other questions, just let me know and I'll do my best to answer. This is so confusing. Just trying to figure out all these shapes. with this timeline, the way onion skin works here, I feel like I'm flipping between frames a lot more than in Flash or Animate. It feels like I'm pretty much animating the old school way where you have to flip the paper to see the previous frame versus actually having a proper onion skin. I think there can be benefits because of it. Like, I'm focusing more on the good-looking shapes versus animating precisely and correctly. Because I don't really see the previous frame right now. I just have a picture of it in my head. And my attention is shifted towards like the current frame and the shape language of it. I think with onion skin, it's very easy to just fall in the trap of animating everything in a boring way. Like if you have a piece, let's say like this, and with each frame you just do this, 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 this. And it works, right? It will, well, move and dissolve. But it's kind of boring. And I feel like I quite often fell in this trap of animating like this, where you kind of have to think about the shapes not just moving but evolving and like growing, shape-shifting into something new. And that's why, like, if you see my explosions, I always, like, let's say you have an explosion like this. Like this way. And naturally you would dissolve them from bottom to top with the motion. And so eventually the pieces will become smaller and smaller. Right? And you see a lot of this type of effects animation online. It's quite common and straightforward. But I find it kind of boring. So in my explosions, and once again, if you have an explosion, I always try to apply, like, first of all, the dissolve shape have like a direction, a slight direction, not just completely that there is a wind that blows to the right and everything moves to the right, but the shape can slightly lean towards one side over the other. And also I try to add wave principle, wave motion to the dissolve as well. So, I mean, I should be animating this to explain a bit better. But let's say I start like this, and the simple way is just to keep eating out the shapes like this. Just expand the dissolve shape. But what I would probably do is add wave motion here. Like there's something building up still. And the next frame it will go like this. Oh, come on. And maybe there's another dissolve shape that comes from the bottom. And maybe one from the side. And this way you still have like emotion, some movement inside the shape. And I think it looks way more interesting than just like linear dissolve. So it's the same thing with the like secondary colors. Like they move, they blend together like one into another, they change the shape. I think that's what makes them interesting. But that's what's difficult about well, this type of animation. It's like Inception, where there's animation inside of the animation. Yep, I think it works really nice. I have no idea what works really nice. I missed the timing. You talked about an app that it flips frames like an old school animating. Oh, yeah, right. Got it now. So another thing that I'm trying to keep in mind while animating is shifting masses inside the animation. And what I mean by this is, like on this frame, you have a huge fire shape here, and a smaller one here. We could have just kept them like this throughout the whole animation. But what I want to do is to shift it a bit. If you look at the animation, like next frames, the center of mass is here and not here. So what I will do is this part is decreasing, and I want to keep the mass of the previous frame, but just shift it to a different place. So I will increase the mass here. To a certain degree. This is the like rough frames just to explain the idea. But hopefully you can see even now. I think it needs to be bigger though. Let's say like this, just with the basic shapes. When I flip between these two frames, like imagine a balloon and you're holding it in the middle like very tightly. And so you have one half of your balloon on one side, another one on the other side, and one is bigger, well, and the other one is smaller. But then you shift the air inside these parts. So the second one is bigger now. And that's what I'm doing here. And I think it creates like interesting motion inside the effect. And I'm actually applying it on the basic, on the main shape as well. Like if I flip between these two frames, you see that this part over here has the main mass, center of mass, but on the next frame it shifts to this area and continues to do so on the next frames. I think it adds like something to the animation. At least I like it. Maybe it looks a bit more believable and interesting, that it's not just like dissolves into thin air, but there's actually some consistent mass that is traveling across the shape. And ideally, I should support this whole idea on these previous frames as well. Let's just make rough shapes for now to see if the trick just works altogether. Yeah, kind of. Hi, английский стрим. Ну да, при этом мы разговариваем с русскими ребятами в основном просто на английском, что чудно, но как-то так. Shovel Knight. Magdalene guessed it. I have a feeling that we won't probably finish this one today. Импортозамещение. Какой-то это в обратную сторону импортозамещение. Это мы замещаем импортом русские продукты, наоборот. Экспортозамещение. Да, так, так более правдиво. We're making comfortable atmosphere for English-speaking people. We're really trying, at least. By the way, Yegor, I watched your last animation. I haven't noticed any Streets of Rage references. What was it? Сколько у нас русских людей сейчас в чате? У нас сейчас 16 зрителей. Имеет ли вообще смысл говорить сейчас по-английски? Oh, and how many are other English-speaking people in the chat? Are there any left? Hi, Brian. Lurking, as you always do. John is here. That's about it. I hope I can finish it this year at least. It's definitely taking way more time than I expected. Because I haven't used Procreate for this type of complex animations before. And I'm starting to see that for something this complex, I will need a proper app. Maybe start in Procreate and then move on to something else. Maybe Clip Paint Studio can do the trick. Since it's on the desktop and on the iPad. Might be very useful. Is there the layer system that is getting in the way? Yes. And I guess the layer / timeline system that's getting in the way. In Flash, you pretty much, well, layers and timeline are combined into one thing, right? So you have multiple timelines, pretty much, that are also layers. Here you have one timeline, and each frame is just some layers that are visible at during this frame. So you can't really animate them independently, at least not that easily. And there are just a bit more onion skin controls in Flash that are very useful for this kind of thing. So, for example, in Flash, I can make the base layer appear as just the outline. And it will help me just to see things a bit easier. So the other option is just to animate, if I want to animate in Procreate, just animate with the line art, like I did on the Fire loop. It is a bit more easier to see what's going on with the onion skin when you have line art. It kind of reminds me of Photoshop's all-timeline view. Yeah, it's exactly the same. There are a couple of things that are a bit easier to do, like I want to make this frame last longer, I can just hold duration and adjust the slider. I think in Photoshop the all timeline was a bit more clunky when I need to do this. And I rely on this method in adjusting my timing quite a lot. But overall, I still haven't found the perfect app. The search continues. Switching between apps is honestly fine. Ideally, I would love to make everything in one app. But maybe we can find perfect apps for each stage of the process. Are there any apps that have the timeline, the similar timeline to Photoshop, but with decent brushes? Clip Studio is great for animation now, for its price, which it costs. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to check it out. I actually mentioned it today already. Just before, when I tried it, it was a bit non-intuitive when I tried to animate. So I gave up, but I didn't really give it a lot of attention and didn't spend a lot of time in the app. And it supports Photoshop brushes in the new update. Sweet. I don't have any brushes in Photoshop. I'm the noob who just uses round brush, soft and hard. I'm mostly curious about the timeline. Because that's the thing. I'm not fully satisfied with Procreate. Procreate brushes, I love them. They are very simple, straightforward. I don't need anything complex. Inking brush is very sharp and precise. Timeline looks like in Photoshop really similar, but you can also use it for bigger complicated projects. Okay, I guess I have to take a look at it myself. Maybe I can have a stream where I just figure out Clip Studio. And you can help me out. And explain to you when you would like. Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, on stream is fine. Would be great. I believe I already bought Clip Paint sometime in the past, so I probably have the license somewhere. I use Clip Paint Studio for my stuff. Awesome, then we will have 2 experts. Would you suggest it for frame-by-frame animation? But you can't rotate canvas in Clip Studio like in Procreate. Yeah, I like rotating my canvas. Why you can? Okay, we have two opinions here. You should be able to, right? It's very standard feature. He lies to you. Why do you lie, Pedro? I thought we were all friends here. Friends don't lie. With multi-touch. Now maybe that's the thing. You can rotate it on the desktop, but not with multi-touch. Maybe Pedro isn't lying. Now I have to say sorry. Sorry, Pedro. Now Magdalene is lying. It's pretty good for it. Only thing that I have an issue is that there's no real way to make an in-between frame. Okay, we gotta test it. I was referring to the desktop version. Okay, we'll have to test it and see for ourselves. Maybe next stream. But this means you guys have to join me on the next stream, or I will look stupid. Streaming with a new app that I have no idea how to work with. Someone's gotta help me out. Oh great, my earplugs died. Less than 3 hours. These are not great. Give me a moment, I need to grab another headphones. I'll be back. Okay, we should be good now. What did I miss? Should'll help, but I can only do it in Russian. That's fine. Russian is fine. So I bought these new headphones for like earplugs because these are crushing my head. When I stream for 3 hours, it really hurts. So I bought new ones, and apparently they work less than 3 hours when fully charged, which makes them pretty useless. And the funny thing is, I also have AirPods, like Apple AirPods, which I really like, but they have issues with PCs. They work great with my phone and with my iPad, but when I try to connect them to your Windows computer, they kind of freak out, disconnect randomly all the time. So I specifically bought new earplugs for the stream. But they died. That's the story. We paint studio talks. I somewhat understand what you're talking about. It sounds a bit annoying already, I'll be honest. I mean, not the thing that you're chatting, but the workflow. I use Honor headphones or Huawei, I don't remember, but they work well. I wish my AirPods worked well, because they can hold the charge for a long time and they sound pretty good and they are pretty comfy. But they hate PCs. Apparently if you have a like Apple computer or MacBook, they work just fine. But I don't have one. That's how they get you, right? Now I want one to just to be able to use my earplugs. The ones that I bought are Urban Ears. They look cool, but what's the point of it? Don't be afraid about CSP, just looks complicated, I swear. Well, we'll see. I like simple stuff. The reason why I am still using Procreate is that because it's so straightforward and simple. And yes, I miss some of the functions of the more complex software. But it's just so fun to use. And it looks pretty, the interface. I think the most difficult software is Harmony. In terms of 2D software, because there are always 3D software like Maya and 3ds Max. They are quite scary. The one app that I was really surprised by how unintuitive and complicated it was ZBrush. Because it looks kind of cool, you know? Compared to other 3D softwares, the interface is quite modern. It doesn't look like a, I don't know, spaceship interface. But nothing you do results in something you would expect. Every button press does something unpredictable. At least that was my first experience with ZBrush. Just opening the file was quite complicated for me, because it's not done in the same way as in every app on the planet. It's just something super weird and different. And then you press some key on your keyboard and something happens. Like your canvas is messed up and you can't, like nothing works, your brushes stop working and you don't know why. And I used to close it and reopen the file because I didn't know what happened and how to fix it. Yeah, even the top menu bar has things in different order. I don't know why it should be that complicated, because a lot of things are, when you find how to do certain things, they are quite standard and normal. They just in a weird spot, you know? I was interested in trying sculpting at some point, but because videos of ZBrush looked so fun. I'm not a fan of modeling like in Maya, but sculpting sounded fun, looked fun. I tried it for a couple times. I even I think I was making some decals for work, ground cracks, and the result was cool, but it was so painful to get there. I also get a seasick in it. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Interesting, I never heard anyone getting seasick from 3D apps. But yeah, I never really gotten into sculpting. Sounds like fun. It would be cool to model something and then print it. Oh, I guess first make a 2D concept of it, because I like drawing characters. And sometimes looking at the drawings I did before, I would think that, oh, it would be cool to actually sculpt this. I know, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle concept that I did years ago, or something like that. Then I can paint it with real paints. That sounds like fun. I wanna try to sculpt again. it would be a lot of statues for sure. I was trying to learn Blender, seems pretty good. I used to do Maya, but I like Blender's UI better. I only used Maya and Blender for simple geometry for VFX. And I think Blender was my first 3D app ever. And it was pretty good. I wasn't able to figure out how to work with UVs properly. It was a bit confusing how to make everything like straight and make it snap to the grid or something like that. Then in Blizzard I used Maya, and I really enjoyed the workflow with the UVs in Maya. But I think the modeling tools are a bit better in Blender, or at least like a bit more intuitive, because I'm pretty sure you can do everything in Maya too. It just sometimes I don't know how to do some things, and it's difficult to Google certain things because you don't know what to ask. And I just like do a lot of things in a weird way, because I'm not sure how to properly model in Maya. And a lot of times when I'm making meshes for my VFX, I just use the very basic tools. Like I select every, what's it called, vertice, and just like place it in 3D space and build the shape out of, like, by actually moving every single vertice. And there's probably... Oh, the stream is dead? It's stuck for me. I don't know if it's working or not. No, I guess it's fine. It looked frozen for me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I have no idea how to use modeling tools in Maya properly. So I just do everything the hard way. There's one YouTuber that uses Flash and Maya for VFX. He imports the animations and makes meshes out of it. Amiari killed screen. Okay, I'll check it out. I'm doing the same thing. Well, I'm not using Flash anymore, but I make flipbooks and then use Maya to create 3D meshes. And then combine everything in Unreal. There are a lot of tricks in 3D, like what you can do with your flipbooks. Meshes is one huge thing. Different meshes, you can completely, like, make completely different effects with the same flipbooks. And there's a lot of material stuff, like shaders, UV distortion, dissolves, a lot of stuff to spice it up a bit, so it's not just flipbooks on billboards. Okay, we're getting close to 3 hours. I want to at least finish the secondary colors for the second burst. I think we're getting there. You can do it, we believe in you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll give you 5 minutes of silence. I had enough minutes of silence today already. So, chatting is great. I'd rather stay a bit late than have a completely silent chat. Maybe I should pick a topic for the stream. Like, you know, a theme to discuss. And then we have something to talk about. Do you guys like Star Trek? I just recently started watching it for the first time. I started with Next Generations. With Jean-Luc Picard. And it's been so great. I didn't expect much from Star Trek, because from my perspective, it's so silly. Like, from the outside, when you actually haven't watched it. And it kind of is silly. But then at the same time, it's kind of deep. Way deeper than Star Wars, probably. And I'm a Star Wars fan. So it was a pleasant surprise. I do. Which one is the best series? Because there's a lot of them. There's a recent one that's ongoing on Netflix. I only started watching Next Generations on season 3 right now. I'm rewatching Voyager now. Yeah, it's silly but grows on you. They do bring a lot of social issues. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about Star Trek, every episode is like a mystery. I have no idea what they'll do this time, because it's so unpredictable, and because they are so silly and naive in some ways, they can do like whatever. Absolutely absurd planets and like silly alien creatures. But the ideas are so unique a lot of times, where like I haven't seen any of this, like this type of themes or creatures or planets in any other movie. I really like the movies. I only watched the first one, I think, and like I personally didn't enjoy it at all. To me, it looked like I don't know, like generic sci-fi. Maybe because I wasn't into Star Trek lore, because I haven't watched the shows before. Yeah, I didn't really get the appeal, and probably the movies, at least the first one, I haven't watched the next one. It made me dislike Star Trek in general, and that's why I haven't seen the TV shows. By first one, do you mean the reboots? Oh yeah. I guess there were like old ones, right? Yeah, see, I'm not aware. I know there's Next Generations is the second series, right? And there was one before it, like even older. Is it still watchable for someone who haven't watched it before? I curse my notifications. We need to turn off some off to other channels to make sure I get this one. Oh, hey Brian, welcome. Yeah, I guess you can follow me on Twitter as well. I try to post there like the day before the stream to remind everyone, and when I actually go live. But let me show you what we made today. We adjusted the main shape a bit, and we're adding in secondary colors. Yep, Star Trek was the original. It's pretty cheesy. I don't mind cheesy. I really enjoyed the first season of Next Generations. I think with at least like season 2 and 3, they got a bit less cheesy. And I still enjoyed it, but the first season was kind of like... in some places it's so bad it's good, but they fully embrace the cheesiness of it. Like second and third season, they go a bit deeper and serious, which is cool too. But some of the cheese was missing. Oh, Brian, and also, I guess to make things a bit more easier, I always stream on the same time, Thursdays and Saturdays. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Central Time, right? I might be mistaken with the time zone here, but it's always these 2 days, and almost always the same time. There are obviously some unexpected events that might occur that will force me to shift the schedule a bit. But I'm trying to be consistent here, to make it easier for people to remember and stuff. So yeah, the next one will be this Saturday, same time. For sure, each of the series seems to follow a similar path. Things get serious as the seasons go on. Deep Space Nine is probably the most serious of the ones I watched. Okay, cool. What do you think about the recent ones? The ones that are like coming out right now? Are they still good? Yeah, I even clicked set reminder for the stream, but I still save and rewatch all the streams anyway. Cool, I hope they are useful. That was kind of the goal for me to... Why I started streaming on YouTube, because I was experimenting with platforms. I tried on Twitch and some other like local Russian platforms. But I was hoping... My goal was to have videos, streams that are saved somewhere and that are easy, people can easily rewatch them if needed. And on Twitch you can only save streams for 14 days if you're not a partner. And that wasn't ideal for me. And seeing that people actually watch the VODs is great, because that was the goal, the point. I'm glad it's working. I don't know as much about them. I enjoyed the first season of Discovery and the first few episodes of Picard. Haven't kept up with them. Oh, there's also Picard one. Cool. I only saw the posters for Discovery. And I don't know, the posters look just modern sci-fi. I don't see Star Trek in them. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I have to watch them to actually see that they are good. But just visually from the screenshots, Star Trek, the old ones are like, they're so weird and goofy, but also unique looking. The uniforms, the ships, weird silly aliens. You can always tell that it's Star Trek. New one looks kind of... It can be anything. Oh, it's not the case. I kind of have the same issue with newer Star Wars movies. With the like ship designs, vehicle designs. They're not as cheesy and silly looking. And I think they are losing a lot of charm. Yeah, they definitely got a different style. I've got to head out, but the fire is looking great. See you next. Thank you, John. I'm not heading out yet. I was just reading the comment. But see you next time. Thanks for the chat. I think they're good as long as you keep the unbiased view of how Star Trek should be. They're not the originals, but they are great new versions of them. And I love the Leonard Nimoy was in them. Okay, cool. Nice to know. Maybe I'll get to them eventually, but just seeing how many different shows out there, and I'm just watching the first one, it might take me a while. And speaking of shows, how many Star Wars series were announced recently? Like 10 of them? How many do you need? I feel like the 2000s was worst in design. 90s and 2010s were better in decades. Better decades. For Star Trek or in general? 2000s, yeah, like I think in movies 2000s there are a lot of very generic movies around this time. It feels like it's the era of the beginning of CGI. And a lot of it wasn't great. And a lot of cool, experienced artists that were evolving and growing in the previous generations weren't involved in these new movies and designs. And yeah, it just less artistic, I guess. A lot of it. As many as Disney thinks they can cash in on. Right. The Matrix changed everything. I guess so. I was quite young when Matrix came out. I remember seeing it on the VHS at home, and I was young. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what's happening, and I didn't like it at all. And then I switched to watching Godzilla from '98. And I liked Godzilla, but I didn't like Matrix at the time. When I watched it when I was a bit older, then I loved it. Before that you had ILM making great practical effects. Yes. And I love practical effects. It's kind of a shame that you won't really see them in movies anymore, I guess. Maybe some indie studios will make something just because, but not at the same level anymore, the same budgets. even newer movies that try to make practical effects, like recent Star Wars movies, they had practical effects in them, but then they have CGI on top of these practical effects. And what's the point of it? I don't know. It just covers all the beautiful work. And also, you can't really have practical effects and CGI next to each other. I think having CGI next to practical effects make both of them look bad. CGI because they don't look real, and practical effects because they start to look fake as well. You start to notice the stiffness of the puppets and stuff. When you only have practical effects, like you turn on your suspense of disbelief, and it works fine. You forget that these are puppets. But having CGI next to it always reminds you that these are puppets. Yes, you get into the uncanny valley. Right. It was a shame that in the sequel of the remake, The Thing, that's, I believe was just called The Thing again, from 2011 maybe? I'm not completely sure. But they had awesome practical effects while they were shooting them. But then in the post-production, they replaced it pretty much everything with CGI. And it didn't look good as well. So this like awesome work was lost. I think one of the, it was supposed to be one of the like latest and recent movie with fully practical effects originally. At least that's what YouTube told me. I wish I was born a bit earlier, honestly. Like, to be able to work on a movie with practical effects, that sounds like a lot of fun. And this job pretty much doesn't exist anymore. I really love the 1982 version of this thing when Kurt Russell loses all at chest and drops the whiskey in the computer. Right. I recently rewatched it. Surprisingly, I didn't like the story that much. Because I watched it before, of course. And I remember it being like full of suspense. And you don't know who's who, you don't know who's the alien, or you can't trust your friends. And that was like the whole idea for the movie, right? Well, this and special effects. But there's surprisingly not a lot of this suspense in the movie. There's pretty much a couple of scenes where people suspecting each other, like in Among Us. But not a lot. Effects are still great and awesome. I just wish there was like more drama and people suspecting each other. It's looking so good. Thank you, Sir Robfish. The thing is just Among Us on Antarctica. Well, isn't Among Us is just the thing? I felt like this was the whole idea for the game. That okay, we have the game that's quite obviously is based on the thing. Okay, we're almost there. At least for the second burst. Okay, we added secondary colors to the second burst. The first one should be a bit faster. So probably we will be able to finish it next time. But yeah, today that's the result of our stream. Next one will be this Saturday at the same time. 9 AM Pacific Standard Time, or the same time as today. I will post something on Twitter to announce my next stream. Thank you, Magdalene. I feel like I'm done for today with stream notifications, HTML, CSS. Oh, you're trying to figure out like, well, notifications, pop-ups on the screen? Yeah, I have no idea how these work yet and how to make them work on YouTube. I want to add something, but right now I'm just trying to focus on the basics, on just the streaming itself, and then try to add bells and whistles. That thing I was thinking about is actually trying to stream just character drawings in future, not just VFX animation. Because I've done a couple of streams before that like when I did fan arts and stuff. I'm curious if people, at least people in the chat, are interested in this type of videos. But that's something I had in mind to just to keep it interesting for myself too, and maybe for other people. Let me turn off my screen for just a moment. Yeah, so stuff like this. I made this sketch a long time ago and I want to finish it. And I was thinking to maybe trying to finish it on stream. Drawing characters is definitely trickier for me than making special effects. So there's a lot of trying different things and without knowing what the hell I'm doing. This might be fun for someone, right? Following the whole process. I feel like sometimes I enjoy watching people who are not highly professional in something, because you can, I guess, see how they solve some problems, and it can be helpful as well. But let me get back to my effects. There you go. So yeah, that one idea. Maybe if I'm streaming 2 times a week, one stream can be for characters, one stream can be for VFX animations. But yeah, just thinking out loud. And for today, that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for watching and joining me and chatting. It was fun. Let's do it again this Saturday. And after this one, after this Saturday, I will be trying Flip Paint Studio. And I will need your guys' help. I really appreciate your help. Where I will be trying to do some animations and figure out the workflow and see if it works for me or not. Looking forward for Saturday. Awesome, Brian. Looking forward for Saturday too. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching and have a good day, have a good night. See you Saturday. Bye-bye.